Today's conversation. I hope y'all are ready. I'm excited. I am super excited to start bringing in the abundance, the prosperity, and the wealth consciousness into our field because we are here to make a better earth. And that's going to require you to use all sorts of wealth. Most importantly, your spiritual wealth, your ability just to plasma project it and instantly have it arrive, right? And so, but we're also going to be in today's conversation going into other types of wealth, like, money in your hand, credit, whatever the other topics are that will come in channel today, I invite them. And so before I get all channeled up, let's tune in to our heart. And so let's just dial into our breath. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Let's let a couple sighs out when it feels appropriate for you. Inhaling the Holy Spirit, the divine presence you be, and then exhaling that out. Divine feminine, divine masculine, just this holy union. And as you take the next set of breaths, really illuminate your light. So if you could imagine this beautiful candlelight lights in the center of your chest. And that beautiful pilot light expands on each exhale. And as it expands, we begin to feel the illumination, not only of ourselves, but of the tribe in the room. The divine appointment that brings us together. And add a smile in there so that you upward the vibrational movement of our energy coming into this huge bright light. And we'll ask that we're grounded in a perfect way, that we're elevated in the Most High, and that we really do bring forward within ourselves our full abundance, our true wealth. And that we release anything that we're ready to today, transfigure it, not release it, but transfigure it, transform it so that we allow the cup to be full. So we allow ourselves to fill up even more. And let's just open our eyes and stay grounded, stay elevated, stay big. So like I was getting all up about, is today's conversation is about wealth. And so we first want to realize what wealth is and realize not so much that it's just about money. I made a little definition for myself, but that it's also about the value that we offer, which we talked about a few weeks ago. So the dictionary definition of wealth is defined as an abundance of value, possessions, or money, valuable possessions or money, or a plentiful supply of a particular resource. So resources, money, possessions is in this first dictionary definition that I found. But what we want to integrate is that it also represents the value you generate through your skills, services, contributions, which creates opportunities for yourselves and others. It involves a plentiful supply of financial resources coupled with the ability to manage and grow them wisely. So we want to realize today, I would hope that you come to this next aha of yourself, of your value that is wealthy, that the value you have that can generate wealth. And it can generate in all those types, possessions, money, additional resources, connections, friendships, service that literally meets somebody's needs. There's trading that goes on. But we want to go ahead and identify what value you already know you have. So tune in if you already have a skill set, a gift, a talent, and you love using it today. Raise your hand if you already know what it is. Okay. I'm not going to ask you what it is. I just want to know how many of you have it. And does anybody feel like there's something else coming? Even if you know you already have it, you can raise your hand again. Yeah. Right? Did you raise your hand that you have it?
No.
That you know it's coming?
What do I know that's coming? I'm sorry.
Your gift, your talent, your skill set, something that's valuable.
Sorry.
That's okay. You were somewhere else. I got it.
Yeah.
So, who's also open to identifying more value, more skill? Yeah, right? And that's where, when I was sitting with Spirit this morning, it's like, yes, we have our skill set that we know about, our gifts and talents we know about. But, our true value is to show up and be the presence. Am I dead? To be the presence and to show up and give whatever's being required of us in that moment, like to be in true service, right? So if we're willing to be present and actually listen and be a witness and pull back the lens a little bit, when we're standing somewhere, we actually can start to see where the outer world, which is you, there's only one of us here, is popping up characters saying, hey, I could use your help. So it's a willingness to also notice, where are you being beckoned or requested to assist and help.
And that's a gift? You consider that? Okay. I do that already.
Yes, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do that already.
Yeah, and that's a valuable, I would say that's the most high, in my point of view, valuable asset that you have, is to know that you are holding the presence of the I am, of the God self, and that you're willing to step back and witness to see how you're being called to serve.
Okay.
So there's two of those things that happen. One time when you're being called to serve, you may literally, someone says, hey, I could use your help. They're like waving across the street. I'm like, oh, wow, someone's literally waving across the street at me, And you're guided to go help, right? There's that second one, though, that maybe you're not necessarily being asked to help. You're being asked to still hold the witness so that the other can help themselves. Yes.
My house is behind a field. And one day I was looking out of the field and I saw there was a lot going on. So I immediately grabbed one of my daughter's stuffed animals and I took it and I gave it to them at the field, because I knew that something was going on and that the child needed that comfort. And then a week later, my husband and I were sitting in the front yard, and this car drives by because the lady was looking for our house. She's like, my daughter broke her arm in 3 places, and I wasn't there with her. And that comfort that you gave her was able to calm her down, and gave the mom piece of the same. And my husband's like, why did you do that? I said, I don't know. I just felt like it was needed. And something sometimes that simple.
Yes. Right? So dropping in or being the presence consistently and offering the assistance that literally might just come on an inner intuition or just a gut feeling, or you just go with the flow, right? You stay in flow and in motion to offer your valuable gift, which is your presence. Because we're always in the right place at the right time. And we're always actually in the situation we're in for us. Like, it's, even when we're helping that girl and bringing her the stuffed animal, it's also satisfying our 7-year-old self that didn't have that stuffed animal brought to her when she needed it. So this is also how we start to see that there is no time. There's only planted seed opportunities every now moment that's getting you to actually right your wrong, balance your polarities, do the thing that you needed to be done to you when you were 7 years old. It's all laid out for us. And so this is where we find ourselves literally on the mountain, and we start at the bottom, and we think that all these people, there's just so many people, and we're like this little guy, and we're like, oh my God, there's so many people, there's 9 billion. And we didn't realize that all of these people were there for us. And so we keep realizing, so we get a little bigger and we go up the mountain. We start entering these higher realms of our central channel, which is, again, we can look at our spine and realize that each energy center is taking us up the mountain. And we start satisfying these, checks and balances, like I said, each of your energy centers, your basic needs, like that, satisfy that basic need, possibly Lestiel's example of like feeling safe and feeling held and feeling secure. And you may be working on your solar plexus, like feeling powerful. And so you go out into the field, into the quantum field, and all of a sudden your opportunity arrives where someone challenges you because you're coming to be powerful, and yet someone comes and challenges you so that you can speak your truth. So there's always what we are intending to grow in ourselves and become more and more of the present so that we can actually show up and witness. Because how am I going to show up and really witness if I haven't even like healed my inner child or healed the anger that keeps me in power struggles, right? So all these opportunities keep helping us to be more of the presence that we came here to be, and then offer those gifts everywhere we are, at every now moment. There's always going to be these opportunities, and that is ultimately, in my point of view, your true wealth. Like, you are so wealthy. You have so much value that you can offer every now moment because it's all you. So when we start to realize, wow, that's actually, I'm like a godzillionaire, right? I'm a billionaire. We start to satisfy this deep spiritual truth within us that's bringing us to a higher fulfillment, which then allows us to also start to address the other types of wealth. So we've got the wealth that's our skill set that we may just trade, because before there was money, they were trading sheep, they were trading, different types of land, gold, resources, etc. And before that, they might have been just, showing up and like doing their tasks. Like, I'll do this, you do that. And everybody worked together. And so we are then moving into resources. So what type of resources do you have? What do you have an abundance of that you are so wealthy? Maybe you got a starfruit tree. I do. I got a couple of them. I got a stack of starfruits on my counter. So, what resources? Maybe you have land. Spirit knocked on my door about the land that I have up in Dunellen and said, why aren't you having people camp on that? So I'm setting it up with Hip Camp, where the land can be camped on. Right?
What's Hip Camp?
It was just something I found online that you can put your land on there and people can pop a tent or bring their RV. So there's this abundance of resources that we have around us, right? That maybe we don't realize that we could be using. And so this is yet another kind of wealth, right? Can anybody give an example of something that that you have that maybe you're like, maybe I should start like sharing that? Yes.
Being silly.
Being silly.
Mm-hmm.
So an inner value, yeah. Any inner gift, being silly, giving that out, for sure. Anybody have like an outer resource that they forgot about?
I have. I'm in kind of, I have 3 plots of land in New Mexico that I think there's nothing out there. I don't know. I haven't been. It's under my mom and grandma's name, but they're like, you can have it. You deal with it. So I'm kind of just like,
what do you do?
Something will happen someday. I don't know when. Maybe I'll visit, but it's 3 plots of land.
This could be part of it, right? Sharing it,
So.
camping. So just some things to think about on that level of wealth. And then we're going to move to the big one, money. So money in the form of all sorts of financial wealth. We have, not only do we have, cash, we've got, maybe you've got some gold. Anybody who got gold or silver? You have gold necklaces, possibly. Sold it already? I gave it all away. I didn't know that was going to come a craze. And then you have credit. Who here is using any credit, has credit? Yeah? Yeah. Right? We've talked about how much credit you have. You're a billionaire in credit. Do you remember that? If you weren't here for that talk, we all have 2 SESQ trusts, and those trusts that are coming from your Social Security card and your birth certificate have been traded on the stock market since you were born, and they were initially seeded with $1 million each in the public and the private. And so you at least have $4 million right when you were born, or when you, let's say, $2 million, then you got another $2 million, you got your Social Security number. Maybe your parents waited till you were of age to work. Maybe they were like mine, I immediately got it. But you at least have, $4 million that was traded in the stock market and now is a billionaire. So you have massive amounts of credit. That is how when you put your Social Security card or your social number on something, it's pulling from that trust. So it's actually all your money. So you're utilizing, you have massive credit. The key is with credit is that, understanding your credit score, understanding a personal credit score and a business credit score. So a personal credit score, if that's who here is using personal credit cards, right? So you'd want to keep that score number up. How do you do that? You pay your payments on time, right? If you don't, you can still work on that, and eventually we have every 7 years things do wipe themselves out and start over. So you have the opportunity to clear your credit every 7 years. There's some other ways as well. When you start understanding that you are not the name and you're not the social security number, when you start understanding that is a utility for you to use, it's a corporation for you to use, you can even have those taken off your credit report when you have late payments. And there's credit debt or credit fixing that you can just sign up for, or you can train yourself to do it. And if you want to know more about that, I can point you to that. So having that higher credit score in your personal helps you get more credit cards, which is all pulling from your SQ Trust. So you have lots of money that you can use credit to purchase things that can make you money, right? You can buy land that you could have people camp on. You could buy land and put a tiny home on it. In Citrus County, you're allowed to put tiny homes on them. Maybe now in Pinellas County too, whatever we believe is so. Everywhere in the world, you can put tiny homes on it. I'm going off of 3D land as well. So let me make sure I clear, cancel, delete that. We can have whatever we want that we do purchase with cash or credit. We can start to also realize that it can also be a wealth machine. We can learn how to have financial literacy to actually make money with the money that we spend. Spend it on things that will make you money. Land, things that you can rent out. We can go into, stocks and crypto. I'm hoping that those people who are with me in the mentorship program, that we're going to go deeper dive, maybe on a class in here. It's a little bit more of a time that I need to go over with you, but teach you how to do crypto, teach you how to be making money with that. The whole financial system's moving to that in 2025 as far as like a portion of it. So knowing how to do that's a really great skill to have. And then the other one was business credit. And so business credit, can be done with an LLC. It also can be done with things that we work with here, the ecclesiastical trust, where you learn how to operate business credit and make it grow. Whereas personal credit, you want to have like low debt to income ratio. Business credit, you want to have a lot of debt. The more debt you have, the richer you are. So starting to understand about that money piece is a good thing to have. The skills, like training yourself and us talking about that as eternal souls, is awesome. We know, like I said earlier, though, things I share in 3D land about what I'm saying, we go lay down and take a nap, or we go take a sleep tonight, and we put a higher order out as spiritual beings, and we start to make even the old ways new ways. So we start to actually know how to expand the reality when it comes to money and currency, which is what we're going to talk about today. There's what we want to talk. So we want to remember that anything that I share on 3D land around the things you learn about of what has been done already, what's conditioned in our system, socially or otherwise, we want to always remember that you are an infinite supplier, you have infinite wealth, and it just takes you to allow yourself to feel worthy to have it. So we know, I say it all the time, like this whole space we just plasma projected, we're billionaires of light. It only requires us to think and intend for something, as we realize that there's only one of us here, and that we came here to create, for us to think and have a clear intention, and then to feel good about it and allow it to actualize. Go take the nap or go take a rest, and then that new system exists. Spirit had me looking at something in the financial system last night, and I'm like, really? I'm going to look at that? It was student loans. And I'm like, why? And they're like, just go in there. And so I go in, and they're like, upgrade it, make sure everybody's debts paid off with student loans. And I'm like, okay. And as I'm doing it, the system's glitching. Nothing's working. It's like, all the lines are going crazy on the computer. And I'm like, am I doing it right? And they're like, yeah, just, keep looking at it, holding space for it, and hold the clear intention. So it finally comes clear. And there's a little box up top that says, this is now in litigation. All student loan is paused right now. So my point is, coming back to the quantum eternal soul that you are, that is here to better and make a new earth, the more you understand about who you are, and why certain systems on the lowest plane of the mountain are operated a certain way, and there's 9 billion lower mountain point of views. So each, whatever set of beliefs you have around anything going on in the lower world is personal to you. It may be completely different to your neighbor and be projecting out a whole different set of light particles of a whole different scene. So, but my point is, you need to go into the places around money and understand it. Understand yourself with money. Who here has a great relationship with money?
I do.
Yes.
Now.
2.
Yeah.
Now. Anyone else?
I'd say a good but not great.
Good.
Good relationship.
I'm gaining.
Gaining.
It's good.
It's a
I
learning
like that
process.
word, gaining. It's good.
And if you are said to yourself that you don't, just say, now I do.
Now I do.
I'm ready.
I'm
Right?
I've been working on a concept of playing a game,
Yes.
because it can often feel heavy, and then I was like, I don't know, like, so how can I put something on paper and then beat my score,
Yeah.
but it's been kind of fun, and it actually, like what we talked about a couple weeks ago, I think it was, or maybe last week, when we put our focus there, our awareness there, then something stimulates, and then it starts changing, and it's really cool to see.
Yes. And this is the point of the game that we're in, that Catriel's talking about. We're finally in the point of the game that enough of the old world has been at least looked at by 10% of the population, that things are more malleable than they were. COVID definitely did that. It just shook everybody, pulled the carpet out from underneath. All right, you thought this was real? Here's some absurdity. You're in a dream, literal, crazy dream. So everything got at least shook up in the system that allows people to look at something and say, well, I don't know if I like that. Maybe I like this better, and have a new dream. And so then that affects the reality. When you have a desire and intention of a new dream, then it has to compute. It has to start to biofeedback. Source code has to start to give you that. The key is, what we're going to talk about today. Are you ready for it? Are you willing to receive it and have the self-worth to allow yourself to receive it? That's the main key. So one thing that Spirit said was, ask y'all about, what's your money story? What can you think about when you think about your life with money? Let's start here. Do you have a ceiling of money that you've always reached to and then it just stops there?
Yes.
Are you aware of a ceiling? Just think of, what's the most money you've ever had? You got that? And obviously we're just estimating. Put it in 100 grand, $1 million, 10,000. Now think about in a year of income that you've, maybe you've been privy to do some sort of tallying it up, maybe for taxes or something. Think about the most money that you've put there in a year.
You mean that on paper
Annual
that
income.
you income? Oh.
Yeah. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
The most that you've put on there? So would you like to have 10x of that?
Yes.
Now would be good.
Right? So our money story typically is what's keeping us from having that. Meaning, whatever you were told from childhood about money, this is one way of looking at a money story. Money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard for money. Let's start with those. Who's here ever heard in their household money doesn't grow on trees? Okay, half at least. You got to work hard for money.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Okay, couple. Most of you, I should say, 80%. And when it comes to your story with money of looking at your ceiling that we touched on, that was kind of like a global ceiling, and then we looked at a second ceiling of yearly income. Have you been telling yourself a story that, man, I wonder if I'll ever make more than that? Or I don't think I'll ever make more than that. Unconsciously or subconsciously, do you feel like that's in your field?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to let that go? Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, it went dark. Type. And the clouds come in. So we're going to move, since the clouds are us, that is a physical representation of our plasma essence that went from pure ether. It started to slow down to vapor and start to form that dense cloud. So in our bigger aura of our oversoul, the clouds, we can see what's going on in the field individually as an oversoul, as a being that's huge, like a giant, and then collective oversouls coming together. When we see a storm, we can say, wow, look at all this light we just generated, because plasma is light, and it's thick, and there's like lightning bolts, and there's wind. All of that is, you're gathering plasma, which is light, which is also in form of water, which is current, which is currency, which is money. So you have so much money in the ether, especially around those topics that I just brought up. So we want to move those ceilings. Let me clarify that. We want to transfigure and dissolve anywhere you're capping yourself off from having only the amount of money that you've experienced thus far. And again, we understand that wealth, prosperity, and abundance, I didn't go into those too deep today, but we understand that it's not necessarily has to even be in the form of gold, silver, money, current, crypto, credit. It literally can be in land and somebody loaning you their house. There's all sorts of ways that you can start to realize, wow, I have more access. So it's not that you don't have the money that you're thinking of. It's just that you haven't figured out where it is already. Yes. And so that leads us into the most important part. Like, we have to have the request. Ask and shall receive. Like, if we're not putting the knowing what we want and the self-worth, we're going to make sure you keep that. And we're worthy to receive it. But we have to have that strong intention. We have to speak it out. And when you get good at it, you can think it out. But to get started, when you're getting control of your plasma light particles, actually speaking it then gathers it to bring it. And so this is where we get our self-worth. So our intention is here to plasma project the imprint and blueprint. And then our feeling of self-worth then crystallizes it to actualize the new house. And awesome. And that's it. So we have to shift our old money story to new money stories. We've got to be willing to give our inner child back and all the kids back their imagination again, and give us back our new stories.
Everybody look for money under
Yes.
green beans.
So we're going to do, for our meditation day, we're going to tell a new story to ourselves. We're going to literally write the story from childhood to now and beyond about money. Okay, so we want to insert that and impress that into the subconscious so that you memorize a new story. We're also going to make sure we do an exercise of voting victory for each other to make room in the vessel so that you have enough room to allow yourself to be filled up and overpour. So we're going to look for a space that needs to be cleaned out. Okay, so we've got our intention, we've got our feeling to generate the feeling. And we have to put in that intention new stories, new intentions, over and beyond that or better. Always. They want to be really big. And if they are big, like we said last week, you need to know how to manage it and allocate it. right? So we also want to do in our impression today, like, where's that money going to go? You know, are you going to do philanthropic acts? Are you going to build, you know, land and build a school? You know, are you going to pay off all your family's houses?
Donate it.
Donate it. You know, if you are meant to do some bigger acts, is it beneficial, right? Like, make sure you believe it's beneficial, that it's not something that's going to take you and the others backwards because that wasn't part of their path, right? There's these types of things. But before we go any further on that, I just want to add in, because you brought in such an important point, that the vision of planting seeds in your environment, not only inside here in your meditation station of new visions, new stories, but to plant those visions around your house. So I invite you all to make a money tree. So in my house, what is common, and you know, if you didn't understand the way this works, you would think like, what is up with this woman? On altars, I've got money. You know, in every room there's altars, there's $100 bills sitting up there. Because I like to see it. When you go in my bathroom mirror, there's a $100 bill in there. If you go in my car, you look in the center, there's a $100 bill in there. The more we see the money around us, and we're used to seeing money around us, there's always money around us. So, you know, getting used to seeing it and playing make-believe, having fun, allows for our understanding of how we actually project this reality to multiply. And good.
Why not?
I mean, does that, I don't know, I'm just,
One way I've actually also used this exercise is you can go on Amazon. If you want the link, I'll send it to you. And you can order a stack of $10,000. If you're in my coaching program, I usually have you order that because I want you to know what it feels like to hold a stack of $10,000, so that you can get good at knowing what it feels like to hold it, so that that can be part of your reality, to actually receive 10,000, know what it feels like, the stack thickness. I also use that exercise because when you're visualizing, and you know, Spirit at one point was like, okay, I need you to go ahead, you're going to generate $600,000 for your friend. And I was like, okay, how do you want me to do that? They're like, I want you to stack up $10,000 until you get to 600,000. She was selling her house, and she was selling it for 600,000. So I used that exercise to sell her house. So for me, already knowing what it feels like, what it looks like to work with $10,000, I was easily able to visualize that and have a tactile reference as well. So you could order, you know, a stack.
it's very exciting.
It's very exciting. It's also really exciting to pass them out. Now, you do have to be mindful when you're passing out these $100 bills to people that you know, remind them that
It's not real.
it's pretend, just like the rest of the money, that they're all debt notes. They're actually not backed by anything. So I just promissory notes.
I think it says it on there. That
It
they're-
does. But I have had people go, oh
Yeah.
my
They're all
God.
excited.
Because I have given away a lot of money, you know, like, you know, and that's something I do want to bring up too about tithing, you know. So when we tithe, you know, we got in the Bible tithing 10%. Sometimes we could even see a 60% in there. But when we're tithing, you know, we're also coming in from that trust, that place, and we're learning to give. So ultimately, it can also be received. Both the act of giving is receiving, as well as in the quantum projector, the more you are giving, you also put in an infinite amount of orders of receiving. Not one or two, but an infinite. So, you know, when you're guided, like I said earlier, sometimes you're going to get a yes to paying off all your family's houses. And sometimes you might get that really wasn't what one of them needed, you know. So, you know, asking within when it's time to tithe, when it's time, who to tithe to, when it's time to give is really important, so that you can, again, help everybody up the mountain, right? We're here to all go up the mountain together. And some of us have things that we need to do it in a certain way. So I want to get to this exercise that I found from Robert, I can't remember his middle name, but it's Stevens. And I actually was so excited about finding him that I went seeking for him, and he just passed. So he has translation. Yes.
He was one of our teachers in Michigan.
Yes. When did he? So you
Not
did?
very long ago.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
I was like
I was there when
ready
his
to
daughter
call
was
him.
born.
I mean,
I know.
You
Yeah.
still call them.
He was in North Carolina.
Telepathically.
yes. So I want to use his exercise of body language and have us, you're familiar with the body
Yes,
language?
yes.
It's his main thing. And have us tap in to a technique. And we're going to do it with one of us. And we're going to do some of his requirements, which is we hold victory. We vote victory, I should say. We vote victory for the person who's pulling up something that needs to be healed or cleared, having a miracle. And so and I'll send you, whoever's interested in this, I'll send you this one video that had one of his books that are also out of print, I can't find. And he really scrolls through all the different types of signals, he calls them, that, like, if you have a bruise or something's aching. He doesn't necessarily, in this several videos I watched, have you talk about, I've got psoriasis. He makes you more say, like, I have this bumpy thing on my arm, kind of like a 3-year-old would describe it, rather than, a 70-year-old or 60-year-old who knows what psoriasis is. But we pull up something and we ask to hold space for each other and vote victory for each other by seeing the light of perfection in the other who's speaking. So this is so important. We talk about this all the time in the sense of, if we want people to shift, we have to actually see that everybody's already whole. We have to see the miracle in everybody, always. We have to pay more attention to them telling us, I have this, I feel horrible, to helping them to pull out the solution, right? So in this exercise, obviously we're kind of being in like therapy mode and we're gonna look at the issue. But ultimately, as we listen to the person expressing what's going on with them, and I ask a few series of questions, we as a tribe want to just hold them in the light and see a miracle. See it literally transfigure. See the wholeness.
We're gonna do that.
We're gonna do it in a minute.
I'm gonna do it, yay!
Okay?
I need it.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And so when we're voting victory, we then are seeking to help that being rise to that victorious occasion. So he also gives an affirmation to say for yourself, and you don't have to say it, but you can, that I am my permanent victory in the light. So let's say that together if you want. I am my permanent victory in the light. And for the other, I am your victory in the light. Ready? I am your victory in the light. So when we're voting victory, it's kind of like the energy that we're exuding for whoever's speaking is I am the victory in the light for that person. Meaning I am literally holding you in the perfected state in my vision and my knowing, and I'm holding space like a big column of light so that they literally can transfigure. He also speaks a lot about things we talk about here as far as speaking. To decree a thing is to have authority over what you are saying. So you want to be clear on what we are saying.
That
We
book
don't-
still might be out.
Which
That book, it's called Mastery of Words.
Mastery of words.
That book might be printed.
I searched all over.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'll ask.
It's the words that made flesh is what I was looking for. Because the words made, and maybe the other one has it too, but I was looking for the list. We want to make sure that we're speaking I can, I will, I claim, I have, I know. Not I would, not I could, not I want. But I can, I have, I will, I claim, I know. Ready? I can, I have, I will,
I claim, I know.
Okay, we got it though.
Yeah.
So that we literally are decreeing a thing and we're putting it into motion. We're using this amazing speech to particleize that what we just say out in front of us, but also within us. And we also want to make sure we have permission. So where I'm going to ask that we have, your permission to do this and to hold space for you. And the way that the series of questions go that I've kind of just picked up, and I'm obviously no expert at this, but I have been doing this type of work for my life, is we're looking for helping the other decree and upscale themselves out of that issue. And so when we are decreeing, meaning I might say to you, I forgive to forgive, I love to love, and then you're going to repeat back, I forgive to forgive, I love to love. I feel to feel. I feel. I know. I love. And we'll keep moving it into the I and then the next word so that we can decree an upgrade. We can upscale and literally have a healing. Because when we're down here and we're in this like lower space of the mountain of our central channel and we're still in the wound, right? We're in the deception that we actually are wounded because we're whole and perfect. And we're in the spell of someone, possibly a doctor, telling you got this issue. And then you claim it. So you keep further holding it down. Well, I got scoliosis. You know, I loved going to a chiropractor in my 20s. I brought my x-rays and everything. I'm like, I got my x-rays, going to this new chiropractor. He's like, I said, I have scoliosis. And he said, no, you don't. He's like, what do you got there? I'm like, oh, my x-rays. You want them? Sure. I threw them in the trash.
Wow.
He's like, are you ready to let that go?
Ooh,
Wow.
Perfect.
I said, yeah.
Does he still work around?
He's
Where
in
is he?
Gainesville. And my chiropractor here is similar like that, Rizaldi. So my point is, we don't want to claim and hold it down. We want to say, my body may be experiencing some, imbalance in my spine, and I'm ready to decree the thing that says, I know that I am whole. I know my spine is flowing this perfect love. I know that I may have been holding something specific right there. And so the reason I love Bob's book, Bob, I think that's his name, is that he gives, like I said, just like Louise Hay, he gives you kind of a layout of, okay, if you've got hip pain, I'll speak to the example that I did. So I'm watching this video last week, and I do it from my shoulder, right? The woman's being interviewed, or she's getting an opportunity to have Bob work with her, and she's not even doing about her shoulder. She's doing something else, but I'm working with it simultaneously on my shoulder, which the shoulder is carrying. If it's on the inside of your body, more closer to your midline, it's yours. If it's on the outside of your body, it's what you're carrying for others. Or connected to the others in your life. Most of the time, left side over is mother stuff or feminine stuff. Most of the time, right side is father stuff or masculine. Although at the corpus callosum, it crosses and you've got the opposite. So left brain is masculine, right brain is feminine. And then it crosses over the rest of the body. So I knew that my left shoulder that had been pinned down for so long, and how many, you guys have been hearing me talk about this forever. It's opened. Is the outside shoulder was carrying your mother's burdens of your blessings. So not being able to receive her, carrying her burdens that she couldn't receive the blessings of her ancestors. And as soon as I got to that nut and bolt of that, I bawled my eyes out. I mean, it came pouring out of nowhere. It wasn't like I was forcing it. It was just like, hit it right there and unwound. So when we do this, it's being willing to be vulnerable. Or just, transparent. Allow yourselves that you possibly may cry. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so let's get into the space of holding victory. So we'll start with that. I'll say the affirmations again. I am my permanent victory in the light.
I am my permanent victory in the light.
I am your permanent victory in the light.
I am your permanent victory in the light.
And then just let yourself fill with light. Let the room fill with light. We're inviting a miracle. And whoever feels guided to be the person I work with, just and so again, we're opening space for the tears to make more space, to allow the feelings, right? Because we need the feelings. And if they're bound up somewhere else in the body, then we're not receiving the blessing. Everywhere in our body is holding old feelings that are actually your wealth and your blessings. And and it could be acute, like meaning like right now we're experiencing something that's popped up. But if it's been long term, like, or even a few months, whatever that length, the time, like, that's how much blessing is like knocking on our door, wanting to be given the opportunity for those feelings to be loved. And so we are love. And the more love we have to give and to feel, that's not being taken up by dormant all the other feelings other than love, fear and everything else underneath it. That's keeping us from our wealth. That's keeping us from our joy. And it's, I'm having Bob come to me again. He says, his belief of emotion is the opposite of love. That's literally resisting love and coming up against it. So those feelings that are bound down, overwhelmed, etc., are literally pushing up against the love from fully flowing, which is you are. I am love. That light particle, that wholeness. And so it's sitting there bound, not able to flow, and it wants to be heard. It wants to be heard and given space to actually be felt. Because so much in our day and age, we're just thinking. We think we're feeling, but we're thinking. And so we know we're not really dialing into the feeling that's sitting underneath there that caused the pain in the first place, caused the issue in the body in the first place. Because underneath any sort of pain is fear, and then everything else underneath it that got stuck there, that needs to be given space to breathe, to be loved on. So some of the powerful things you heard that you could say to yourself, like me loves me, that got me bawling. Right? Me loves me, love loves love. Forgive to forgive. We don't even need to know who to forgive. Because it's so ancient. Just forgive to forgive, right? And then love to love. Anybody want to share before we shift from this?
Old feelings, you get used to feeling that way, and you don't realize that there's another way of feeling because you're so locked into just feeling that way, because I always have, and I guess I always will. But then when you think like what you're saying, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am whole, I am complete,
Yes.
God loves me, all those positive things, there is a shift and another way to feel. And I know it sounds so simple, but when I was stuck in whatever I was stuck in, it was like I was so used to feeling the negative, the lack, and not in the abundance.
Yeah.
This was life-changing.
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 And then life-giving. And then the abundance comes. How are you feeling, Sybil?
Okay.
Did it come on during class or like before? Just curious.
Well, it's just this whole health medical situation
Got it.
and diagnoses and
I
a
would like
test
to talk
I
to you
have.
after class about
Shows
this.
the
Okay. And I think I didn't get enough sleep, and that doesn't help with head stuff. So, and I probably need water too.
Go get some water. Anyone else want to share something before we move on to our money exercise? Yes.
Well, like I've shared with you, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to feel. Like I would just lay there on the bed and say, you did not feel this, you did not feel this. So I understand I have a lot of wealth within me wanting to come out. But the other thing is this morning, like when you're in that twilight sleep as you wake up, you're sleeping half and half. I kept hearing, it's not real, it's just a hologram. It's just a hologram, it's not real. You can change it, it's not, that's what I was waking up to as I was, it's like, okay, so it's just a hologram. And you can go in and change the hologram anytime.
That's the new story.
Yeah, the new story.
So that's a perfect segue. So I just did a little video on this. Neville Goddard talks about not paying attention to the outer circumstances. Like, give it no weight. Nada. Pay no attention to the outer circumstances, because this is a dream. And if you're paying attention to the outer circumstances and you're working with his law, which is law of assumption, meaning you assume as if you're whatever you're working on manifesting, your life, your best life, when you assume as if, even if the outer circumstance shows you complete opposite, you pay little attention. And my little 2 cents was, well, the only thing you're going to pay attention to is for biofeedback, for information purposes. Like, oh, I need to tweak that. You know, I need to delete those, you know, subconscious beliefs that have that projecting in the hologram in front of me. So a little bit of due diligence to figure out what it is that you need to transfigure and clear. Then when you put the insert and impress upon your subconscious the new story we're going to do right now, you will eventually see it out in front of you, because this is a hologram. This is a holographic experience. And most of what we see, when you understand, you study the FBI file, or the CIA files, excuse me, is they clearly tell you this is a holographic experience. So the things that hold it in place are things that program us so that are easily to memorize, right? And entertainment is another one. Like, entertainment is holding your attention to project more of the same. So if you're gonna watch movies, watch a good story. If it has a little drama in it, then find out why you projected that in front of you. Like, again, the outer circumstance, it had some drama, and cleanse, clear, release that from every timeline of your existence, so that you can now plasma project a new story, an upgraded story. And again, there's really no new story, because everything's already happened. Sorry. You can move your chair over. But there's no new story. It's a higher upgraded story that we're matching into, aligning and quantum tangling into. Because whatever your highest desire is in this life, keep having them. Mo better. Those higher desires are why you came here. You came here to be the God Goddess, to be fully wealthy, and to have the whole scene in front of you be the highest desire. And it's already there. So sometimes you just got to pull back the curtain and actually see that it's already awesome. That you already have all you need. But if you still have desires and you're going to yourself, well, that's greedy, or I don't know if I should have that much nice refrigerator. You know, if you have the desire and you are the eternal soul that you are, then hello, it's meant for you to plasma project it and actually feel self-love and worth to have it show up in front of you. So it may require you to really start to crystallize that new story you're telling yourself. I am healthy. I am wealthy. Yes, I have the most beautiful house. It's on the water, and maybe you want it up high now because of hurricanes, or, you know, whatever the detail is. Like, you keep telling yourself, you keep visualizing that and impressing that, so that it can come into the hologram, which is your closest holographic experience. Is your Taurus. It is literally your aura is a holographic aura, and it's projecting out 3 feet in front of you, the most close things, and your oversoul is projecting out even farther, and the sum total of all of the oversouls together, we project even bigger scenes. We have joint agreements to project, you know, common scenes together. That's what I was going to draw. But the new story piece is key, and to not pay attention to anything outer until it's time to pay attention, meaning you love it. Does that make sense? Because it's all malleable. It's all being projected by the memorization of what you thought should be there. You got to rememorize and refocus your attention on the new memorized material. So your best time to work on yourself is when you're sleeping. The best time to do all this work is right before bed, during your sleep, and when you get up. You know, get up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sit by a candlelight, you know, everything's so malleable right then. You could do it laying down, but not, right now I'm sitting by candlelight. Actually, all you all for Christmas are getting these awesome candles. But you, whether you're sitting up with your spine erect or you're laying down and you're drowsy, if you take the moments right at the early wee hours and you visualize it and you impress, you're already slowed down. Your brain waves have gone down from beta to alpha to theta. So it's super easy, your brain is super plasticity, to impress and get them hardwired into your projection of what is going to happen. Then your next day should be filled with those tall orders. And if they're not, it just means you still haven't fully let it in, and that's okay. Work on it.
Obvious to say, check yourself and see if you're resisting the resistance.
Ooh. Let's clear that. Check yourself if you're resisting the resistance. And then douse that with love light. So let's go ahead and drop into this exercise. Get yourself cozy, take some deep breaths, shimmy your body if you need to a little bit. Let out any sighs. I'm going to do a 3-part exercise of a new story. Start to breathe in the light that you be. Illuminate and cleanse your pineal gland with liquid love light. Let that liquid love light run down like a waterfall and just bathe your spine, your heart with liquid love light, cleansing any old resistance, letting it all go and transfigure. Remember, your exhales out your mouth can sometimes move the energy if needed. And open the heart on the inhales with the mouth. And so let's go ahead and meet our inner child. We're going to ask for 3 specific scenes. The first one has to be with our beautiful innocence. Invite your inner child. Notice what age you are. I want you to ask your inner child if there's anything around abundance from childhood that she would love to imagine for herself. Anything that can be her new story around abundance that maybe is for her or for her family. Give him or her permission to have, to visualize right now. And if she or he needs any help with permission, just remind this child it's safe to imagine. You're allowed to imagine. Even if the child says, well, that's not true, remind the child that, of course, there's not true, but this is the truth because your imagination is the truth. Let the inner child see the most glorious, wealthy scenes, healthy scenes, happy scenes. Even if it's the details is more of a mirage or just the knowing that this inner child is getting to smile. Next, thank your inner child and let your inner child merge into your being. Shimmy together and become back to one. As your innocence blooms, as the inner child gets to reintegrate back into your heart space, I want you now to tell yourself a new vision, a new story about your current wealth, your abundance. You are so wealthy. You have more than enough money to do whatever you please. Anyone you want to give service or help to, anything you want to do is just, it's so easy because of how much wealth has been restored back in your field. visualize something specific or several scenes now of your now wealth. Everything is taken care of. As you're doing this one, smile and elevate the vibrational light so that it truly does crystallize. Let yourself know that you're allowed to have this now. It's safe for you to have this now. I am so worthy to have this now. I have this now. Yes, I have this now. I created out of thin air. The heavenly space lands now. And then again, shimmy that into your field, like turn it into sparkle stardust and allow that all to shimmy into your entire aura. As we do one more, I want you to imagine your aura, your beautiful soul light package is now elevating in frequency. It doesn't need to lift out of the room. It's just vibrating higher. It's vibrating higher into a seemingly future parallel now. As you vibrate into a higher parallel now, where your wildest dreams come true, visualize as you open these wide gates of love light and let this love light open up and show you a higher parallel now. Is there people there specifically? Is there objects that have materialized? Is there more philanthropic acts that you're getting to do? You've built a school. You have the most prosperous business, the most prosperous family members. Everybody is just thriving and supporting each other. What are these little details that you could pull up? And then give gratitude and thanks. I have this now, and I thank this vision now. And turn it into sparkle stardust, and again, merge it into your field. Breathe it back into your heart. Let it circulate through your aura as it comes into the heart and expands through the channel and around again. Let out any sound, anything that represents the fulfillment, so that you remember what it feels like through sound as you call upon these sounds anytime to vibrate you into this alignment. As that's merged and married back within your heart and your aura at large, give thanks to your entire totality of who you are, why you are, what you came here to create and do. We'll bring our hands to our thymus gland, just honoring this vessel, this temple of light that we are sitting in. What an amazing temple of light our body is. What an amazing pineal gland that literally projects the most amazing scenes and show. And I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I feel to feel. I stay and I feel. That was one of the most important ones. Let's say that. I stay and I feel. I stay and I feel.
I stay and I feel.
Whew. Thank you, guys. Goddesses and gods. Thank you so much. Have lots of water, lots of grounding. Until next time.